DNVR Broncos live, coming to you from Studio A here at the DNVR Bar, where the A stands for agony. Yay.
No, it's not a yay. Agony isn't a yay.
It's a sad yay, which is actually a nay.
I think people are
Contextual clues are
Oh, boy.
are a struggle here today.
It's just word for word.
Oh my gosh, we were talking right before the show about what Deion Sanders told, literally word for word told the current CU
Crazy
players.
the way the mainstream media
That's
spins
you.
the words.
Yeah,
It's you. You're the one doing
Weren't
it.
you up at the press conference as a
There you
media member
go.
yesterday?
I was.
There you
There
go.
you go.
There you go. But we were talking about how he said to the players, Henry and I heard him word for word say, get out of here. Get in the portal and get out of here. And it kind of ties into what we're going to tie. And Ryan thinks it was not what he said, but that's what he
Essentially,
said.
things are changing. If you don't like it, get out.
But no.
That's not what he said.
No, it's not what he said. That's what coaches usually say. That's
Yeah.
like what you say when it's like, oh, yeah, new coach, he's going to try to like get rid of those guys. But he didn't. He just showed up and said, get out of here. I need scholarships.
You guys just don't speak prime like I do.
Oh, okay,
boy.
okay.
Oh, boy.
But I actually think we can use Prime's words.
Yes.
The way
Ooh.
I think that Henry and I heard them, maybe Ryan as well, for this conversation today. Because probably a new head coach, maybe a new general manager, but regardless, they may come in to this building next year and look at the offense and say, get out of here.
Well, and yeah, it's funny because I was talking, I've been talking about CU for 72 hours. And
I think a little bit longer than that.
well, yes,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
consecutively, save for the tailgate and the watch along yesterday. But it's funny because my whole thing and, the optimistic CU fans' whole thing is, yeah, like you can't use anything about last year's roster to evaluate how they're going to be in the future because the whole thing is going to change. And at this point, you almost wish the Broncos had that
Yes.
luxury to just tell everyone to leave
Yep.
and get whoever else you want in.
Yep.
And they don't, which complicates this whole mess greatly, because the conversation we were having today is how many starters do the Broncos have to replace on offense to get this thing on the right track? Guys, I rewatched the game this morning, and I've determined it to be the dumbest game I've ever seen.
It is. It really
Wow.
is.
Yep.
Wow.
10-9. I do either of you have the stat about
I know the
1
stat.
in 206?
Yes.
It's the...
Here, I got it.
Okay.
Nick Kosmiter tweeted this out, but it actually comes from Mike Sando, who said, before Sunday, NFL teams were 0 in 206 since 1995 when committing 2 turnovers, forcing no turnovers, and failing to exceed 10 points, according to Pro Football Reference. The Ravens made it 1 in 206 by beating the Broncos in this game. In the entire history of the league, which dates back to 1920, teams were 8, 325, and 1 in those games before Baltimore added a 9th to the win column on Sunday.
Well, the Broncos are joining history, right? Can we look at it in a positive way? Just like
No.
you're trying to view Deion's thing in a positive way?
It is a positive. Whether
is
it
a
goes
positive.
through my
It is.
lens
It is
or your
positive.
lens, it's a positive.
It is a positive.
That is shocking.
It is.
That's not in Henry's life, right?
Nope, not
First
my
one
life.
in Henry's life.
Wow. Congratulations, Henry. You got to watch
Thanks.
history
That was my
yesterday.
first.
And speaking of
You
watching...
never forget your first.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
You won't forget that
I
one.
bet.
for sure.
I don't know. You may forget it.
Yeah, that might be gone pretty quick.
Yeah. Do you guys watch the program?
Program.
Red
Program.
Zone.
Yeah, program.
Yes, I do
And
enjoy some NFL Red Zone.
The premise of it is, if I'm
Oh,
understanding
God.
right, is when a team
yeah.
gets in the red zone, they put them on TV because that's exciting. That's where the action is. That's where a score is about to happen.
yeah,
right?
that's correct.
The Denver Broncos would, if they stuck by those rules, would have not been on red zone once yesterday. The Denver Broncos did not enter the red zone. And we know that they're a bad red zone team to start with, but they took it to a whole nother level and said, we can't be bad if we don't get there. Guys, the Broncos didn't get 20 yards within the end zone. It's not just that they didn't score a touchdown. They didn't even get 20 yards within it.
And here's another reason why this game is so dumb. Knowing what you now know, wouldn't you think that Russ was just awful and had just a tragic stat line?
Yes.
You would think.
17 of 22, 189 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 102.3 rating.
Yeah. Incredibly efficient.
Like, and when you go back and watch the game, it is remarkable how much each drive follows the same script.
Yeah.
I wrote down in my notes 2 that essentially give you exactly everything you need to know about how this game went for the Denver Broncos offense. Justin Simmons gets the interception. The Broncos get the ball on the 40-yard line, 20 yards away from that glorious red zone that you spoke of, Zach. First throw, first throw's a check down. It's like kind of like maybe a throwback screen / check down.
Yep.
Goes to Latavius Murray, -1 yards.
Yep. Right there, they're doomed.
Actually, 0 yards.
And everyone knows it.
Yes. Second run for -1.
Yeah.
Third throw is a slant short of the sticks. And that right there is the Denver Broncos offense yesterday. And it's why Russell Wilson actually, in the end, looks like he has decent numbers. It's because they completed a ton of throws short of the sticks on third downs, which I know is everyone's least favorite thing.
People hate
Another one, they get the ball on their 47-yard line after... Can't remember how they got there. Oh, a long throw to Greg Dulcich.
Yep.
They get the ball to the 47-yard line.
Momentum, great.
Run for -2. I believe incomplete pass, and then throw short of the sticks again. And it's just like, how does this happen?
Yeah.
In the beginning of the game, it was the back-to-back shotgun runs on 3rd and 4 and 3rd and 2 that get stuffed. And it's just like mind-boggling how bad they are at situational play calling, at taking advantage of opportunities, at building on their momentum. Every good play that they do exists in a vacuum.
Right.
It never builds on itself.
No.
And it's why they can't put together drives. It's why they can't get into the red zone. And it's why they lost the game. Of course, follows the perfect script of the defense letting down late after having like a just remarkable performance. And then falling apart at the one time when they can win the game. They're always great at every moment of the game until they have an opportunity to win. Shocking.
They just don't know how to win. And Ryan, I'm happy you brought up Russell Wilson's stat line and Russ himself. I mean, he was the ultimate game manager yesterday, but like not even in a good way. But what the thing that scares me about that is, yes, 77% completion. You love to see it, but it does, from the way the season's gone, it does cross my mind. Is that like peak Russell Wilson now? Where it's like, you know, he can complete 77% of passes, but it's for 189 yards and it's no big plays because he's not able to, or just he's too shook right now to see the whole field. And that's what scares me, is I'm like, okay, that certainly wasn't a good game from the quarterback, but it wasn't a miserable game. But is that kind of his peak, at least as of right now?
I don't mind a game manager game from Russ just because we don't really know if he has that in him. Like, the fact that he was able to go out there and just hit all the short stuff, it's not ideal. It's not going to win you games. But I look at that and say,
It's like something to build on.
At least we know he can do that. Worst case scenario, it looks like he can be a game manager. You do obviously need the big plays and throwing stuff downfield, and the fact that a lot of those throws were short of the sticks on third down. Honestly, I still look at it as a positive and say, hey, at least he's hitting short passes somewhere. I don't think that's his peak. Like, we've seen when KJ's healthy, he can hit some deep balls, but it is what it is. An efficient day.
I mean, hitting like, you know, a couple deep balls a season isn't like, you know,
True.
Unleashing something, though.
No.
KJ Hamler, by the way, his season is pretty much over.
Yep.
It's not official, but pretty much over. 7 catches in 7 games. I mean, just talk about and disappointing from like KJ's perspective as well. I feel so bad for him, but I mean, just what a bummer of a year.
So
Totally.
how would you have felt in training camp if I told you KJ Hamler has 7 catches this season and Tim Patrick has 0?
Oh,
Not good.
Boy. Yeah, wouldn't feel good.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, I would have said, okay, Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton are going to eat. And I think before the season, there was something over at DraftKings of Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton combined receiving yards over under 1,999.5. Exactly, 2,000. I would have said, oh my gosh, that's the easiest bet to make.
What are they on?
And then the
pace
fact
for?
that isn't even close, like not even close. I think
Not
they're
close.
right around 1,000 now.
They're
Unbelievable.
1,200. 1,202.
1,200, and Cortland could be done for the rest of the year. We'll
Yep.
see.
It's just a disaster. It's an outright abject disaster.
Yep.
And so let's answer the question. How many starters need to be replaced to make this offense, what's the word, good? Good enough to make the playoffs? Is that was the way we framed it?
Yeah, so does that mean...
Do we count the injuries?
Well, you can say, Tim Patrick, you keep him, so you don't have to replace
So that doesn't
him.
count?
Yeah.
Or he takes a starting spot, or someone that's injured takes a starting spot back, or something like that.
So that would be is that considered? I guess it's considered a replacement,
Right. 'Cause
over
you
the
didn't
current
have him.
starter.
Is this so it's
Yeah.
like over the current lineup right now?
Yeah, because
Sure.
like you can
So
count
like Lloyd was
Javonte-
in for half the season.
Yeah, let's
you know?
go with player. That doesn't count. So how many players do they actually have to add to the team?
Right,
Okay.
right. And let's say
And subtract.
to be a playoff team, what are we talking? Average offense, or are we talking top 12? So
I
it's
feel
like
like
the
that's
top third.
up to your imagination.
We're
'Cause
up
it
to-
depends on the defense, you know?
They've
I
played
think an
12
average
games,
offense
right?
does. I think an average offense gets in.
They played 12 games, right?
Yep.
We're up to 10-2 now. If they had scored 18 points in regulation.
Boy.
Top
Oh,
20 probably
boy.
gets in then.
Yeah.
Okay,
Top
let's
27 would have them at 10-2.
let's do average offense.
All right.
So what do they need to do to go from where they are right now, which, by the way, it just keeps getting worse. Now they have dipped under the 14 points per game on the season. They have now dipped below 12 points per game with Clint Kubiak calling plays. So it's not as easy as just, take away play calling duties from Nathaniel Hackett and everything will be fine. No, in fact, it got worse.
Yep.
Clint looked awful yesterday.
Good
I
on the
mean,
script again.
Yep. Good enough to get
But that
to
was
the
it.
40-yard line, and it was like, oh, good drive.
Great for the Broncos.
That's exactly the best drive was 49 yards, and it felt like, oh my gosh, let's hold a parade right now. They figured it
Yep.
all out.
3 points per drive would make you the best offense in the NFL.
Script every drive, baby.
Yeah, script. But then were they on the script on that second drive when they looked really good
In
to
theory
start?
for 4 plays.
Right, and then they go back in the last play of the drive is the one you talked about, Ryan, where it's 3rd and 1 and they go shotgun handoff, and it's like, you have
Yep.
got to be kidding me.
Yep.
Shocking.
That
All
was
right.
bad.
So where do we start? Wide receivers, tight ends?
Yep, the wide receiver, sure.
Okay.
Outside in.
Does Cortland Sutton need to be replaced?
So the way I view him, though, I view him right now as the Broncos wide receiver 1.
So you're saying he has to be replaced as wide receiver 1?
Yes. Or do you view it as Jerry G? Either way, the
I think Tim
Broncos need a
Patrick
wide
is, though.
receiver 1.
I think
don't-
Tim Patrick is.
I don't think Tim Patrick's a wide receiver 1.
So I had 0 for the receivers. I think Jerry, Cortland, and Tim Patrick, you're good enough to be average there.
I think so, too. Average.
My goodness.
I think Tim Patrick.
Goodness.
It's a difference. You replace Kendall Hinton with Tim Patrick.
Tim
My
Patrick
question
in
is-
my mind is a great 2, obviously an amazing 3, but the Broncos don't have a wide receiver 1.
No, they don't.
But your wide receiver 3 would be a wide receiver 2.
Yeah, and your
I think
wide
that
receiver
balances
2
it out.
may be a top end wide receiver 3.
All right.
I don't think so.
I guess I'm trying to
have
think
to
of this
add-
from
you
a
have three.
realistic standpoint rather than...
True.
So it's like, if I'm trying to rebuild the team, I'm just saying, like, those guys have to be better. I can't afford to replace them. They're all making
Yep.
too much money. You could, I guess, replace Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah. Trade him out, add somebody.
Yeah, good.
I just don't think
guess
you're
just, like,
upgrading.
good luck upgrading is what I would
Yeah.
say.
You would be taking whatever pick essentially that you got for him and using that on a wide receiver in the draft.
So
I
I
think
guess
you're
that's
getting
another
worse.
question I have about the prompt here is, are we trying to realistically get there, or are we trying to say, what does it actually have to be?
I think we're looking at both. I think it's what needs to happen for them to be just an average offense next year, and then how realistic is that?
Okay.
Can they do that?
Because I do think adding a wide receiver 1, a true wide receiver 1, would make a big difference.
It definitely would.
They-
a speed guy. That's what they're missing. They
Well,
just
I
need
mean,
speed.
what it boils down to in my mind is a playmaker. And playmakers are wide receiver 1s. You don't find playmakers in like a wide receiver 3. No, that is a true wide receiver 1. And you know who fits that bill?
DK Metcalf?
Who was able potentially, and a guy that was on the market last year. A.J. Brown. Now, obviously, you're not going to get him, but there are those guys out there, potentially sometimes every offseason that you don't think are available, but then they
Stephon
become
Diggs.
available.
Yep.
And you have to be
DeAndre
willing
Hopkins.
to get exactly. You have to be willing to give up, in a crazy way for DeAndre Hopkins, a 2nd-round pick, or for most of these guys, a 1st-round pick to do it. But like you just pointed out, in the past couple of years, there have been those guys out there.
Tyreek Hill.
You need speed.
Yes.
Every year, big time wide receivers
Yes.
are moving around.
And so to me, absolutely, I have to get that wide receiver one.
Oh,
I'll join you on that train. I will say, again, if I'm going with realistically what are the moves
That's
that
not how you
can be
do it.
made, I'm not making that one.
Yep.
But in terms of if I'm living in a world where what do we really need to change, that's, I think, one of the fastest paths there would be getting
Yep.
a true wide receiver one.
Yeah, I agree, and I also think it's realistic if you want it to be done.
I wonder, there's probably a whole
I guess if
first
you trade
segment
Jerry, yeah.
based on who they could go after.
Right? Oh, that's it. We got plenty of time to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Let's.
So then, are we okay right there being set on wide receiver 2 and 3 you have on the team,
Easily.
Yes.
and you don't
Easily.
have to really do anything else? Okay.
Yeah.
I agree as well. And should we go to tight ends?
Yep.
And before we go there, if you want to see this special dynamic playmaker next year that the Broncos are going to acquire, check out our friends over at Game Time, where you can get those seats to the game. And speaking of seeing games, if you want to see a dangerous offense in a very dangerous way, well, check out the Broncos-Chiefs game this week, where the Chiefs are coming off a loss, so maybe the Broncos can find a weak spot, or the Chiefs are just going to be super mad and try to blow the Broncos out. But you can go there, and it's not a night game anymore. Remember, Broncos flexed out of that, so the game is at 2:05, I believe, in Denver. So check out Game Time to get tickets to this game if you want to see the Broncos have a shot at breaking the 13-game losing streak. We've got links in our description. It's the first one on YouTube. It's the first one over on the podcast. So just go to our link in the description, click on that, and it'll take you right to all the Broncos games. So check them out over at Game Time.
And also, hydrate yourself by murdering your thirst with liquid death.
Let's go.
You know, I've been having this cough now for like 2.5 weeks, which is I don't understand it.
I haven't noticed that.
Really?
It's like
Yeah.
when he starts choking.
I guess you've been
at the
gone
end
for a
of
week.
shows.
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah. Remember that?
I thought that was just like water down the wrong pipe.
No. I wish it was though, because I need to keep putting water down these pipes, and if I were to do that, liquid death is the water that I'd fill my pipes with. You can
Interesting.
slaughter your thirst, cut off its head. You can
Yep. Sever.
severed lime it. Yep, that's a kind.
Murder your own pipes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No.
No, I like the pipe. Got to keep
Oh,
the
you
pipes.
don't-
Pipes intact.
Just
Oh,
need
okay.
to wet them. They have like the bubbly water that's flavored. They have the
Sparkling water?
sparkling. There we go.
Yeah.
They have just the normal water, the mountain spring water that comes in a can too. You can pick up Liquid Death just about anywhere. Safeway, 7-Eleven, King Supers, all those. Or go to liquiddeath.com/DNVR. That's liquiddeath.com/DNVR to figure out where.
Also, come check us out over here at DNVR. We've got a Nuggets takeover coming in the next few
Yes.
days. Those are absolutely... Henry, you're going, so
Yeah.
What day is it?
Saturday.
This Saturday,
Ooh,
Nuggets
perfect day.
takeover. I think we have a couple more spots left, and it's one of the coolest things we do at DNVR.
Might be some surprises at the bar afterwards too.
And I was going to get there. Could be a surprise at the bar afterwards. There's always something fun. There's always like a little mystery package at the end of a takeover night. How it works is you come here to the DNVR bar, you have a drink, get ready. Bus comes, picks everyone up. You get beers on the bus. They take you to the stadium. Everyone sits in the same area, which is so cool. It's almost like harkening back to the days of like being in the student section in high school or
Right,
college.
It really is what it is.
And so you're all there. You hang out, you chant, you have a good time, and then the bus brings you back to the bar for an after party. It's one of my favorite things we do, and so make sure you get in on that and all of the fun things we're doing here at DNVR.
And yeah, absolutely. Check that out.
Also, shameless plug here for DNVR Buffs,
Absolutely.
which is
Oh.
absolutely blowing up right now. If you
Wonder why.
or anyone out there is a Buffs fan or a Prime fan, which we have found a lot of recently. Just almost all the comments are like, I'm following Prime from Shanghai. I'm following Prime from Mobile. Like all across the world,
Yeah.
people are just fans of his. So if you're like that too, check out all the coverage over there. It has been going crazy the last couple of days, and we're just going to keep feeding the beast.
There we go. That's what happens when Prime comes to town, isn't it?
It's insane. Truly insane.
All right, and let's talk about tight ends now. And I think this one's easy. No, the Broncos don't need another starter. Don't need to replace a starter there at tight end.
No.
It's just we're talking as if it's one starter because I guess we talked about 3 wide receivers. So.
Yeah.
I think you're even good at or tight end too.
Oh,
Like
I don't.
if you've got Saubert and those guys, I think that's good enough for a second tight end.
Like, I guess it would be like, do you just take a replacement level player? Because it might not be Saubert. It could be anyone.
Exactly.
But are you just taking an essential free agent to fill that role, or do you think they need to upgrade it?
I would want to upgrade at that tight end 2 spot, but it's not a starting spot,
No.
and that is probably something that is not realistic to get a massive upgrade there. When I think we're going to be talking about so many different spots that the Broncos truly need to go after.
Yeah.
And Dulcich, the biggest bright spot on offense this year, so you're certainly not going to try to replace him. Obviously, there are tight ends that are better, but Dulcich, what he's shown so far, I'm thrilled with.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I mean, the leading receiver in half the games that he's played?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a good stat, but it's good for him.
It is good for him, bad for everyone else.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so let's make our way to the running back room. And this one's complicated
It
because you
is.
don't need to replace Javonte Williams,
No.
but you
need to
better
patch
hope
it.
he's Javonte Williams when he
Yeah.
comes back. And you might not have Javonte Williams for the first quarter of the season, I think would be a realistic expectation, and it could be longer.
Yep.
So technically the answer is yes.
Yep.
You do need a new starter because, my God, Latavius Murray cannot be your running back 1 in the NFL in 2022.
He's trying though.
Yep.
He's trying his heart out.
It's a classic thing that I feel about, and this is like, I don't mean to put him down in this way.
No.
But when I look out at like kids that are playing for CU that are just getting smoked, I'm like, I'm not mad at them.
Right.
Like they're not being put in a position to succeed. They don't belong out there.
Yeah, I mean, Latavius Murray was on the practice squad.
Right. Latavius Murray can be a very good RB3.
Yep.
He can eat carry. I mean, what? I think it's 5 of 7 games now. He's finished with between 2.7 and 3.3 yards per carry.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
he does the exact same thing every time. There's that 152-yard run that like
You can count on
is
second
the
and 8.
outlier.
Exactly.
Basically, yeah.
Just trust, I guess, is what you have in Latavius, but we all agree that you have to upgrade from there.
It's actually mind-boggling to me that even in the middle of the season, the Broncos can't find a slightly more dynamic player.
Truly true. And
Like all I ever say is running backs grow on trees. All anyone ever says is running backs grow on trees. Yet the Broncos can't find a player who can bring any juice to the offense.
And that's why Mike Boone needs to be the starter, the bell cow moving forward the rest of this season to see. Can he be good enough to be the Broncos starting running back for the first month of next year, for the first month and a half of next year? Probably not. But you know who I know it's not going to be? It's not going to be Divino Zigbo.
True.
It's not going to be Marlon Mack. It's not going to be Latavius Murray. And I understand that the Broncos wanted to work Mike Boone back slowly yesterday in his first game back from injury, so I don't blame him for not making him that role yesterday. But I'm putting, whenever he's ready to be the full-time guy, he is the full-time guy to see. Because it seems like every time he touches the ball, really good things happen. But there also just has to be a reason why multiple teams now have just not given him that many opportunities to touch the ball. But give him the opportunity now. Because worst thing that happens, he goes for 2.7 yards per carry, and you get the exact same thing that you got with Latavius.
I think the numbers with him are always going to be better just because of how you use him.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Latavius,
true.
what do you do with Latavius? You tell him to run straight
Smash him
ahead.
up the
Yep.
middle.
Where do you get good numbers? If you run to the outside, if you run out of shotgun,
you're
like
right.
Mike Boone's in there in shotgun. And so career 5.5 yards per carry. Yeah. See if that holds up with the bulk of carries. But I don't know if he can do much between the tackles. Why not find out though?
Yep.
The other problem, though, is like if you were counting on him for 6 games, it's probably a losing bet.
Yes.
Just because he gets banged up very easily.
Yep. It's very true. So, boom.
I'm saying it's crazy to say like a 4th-round pick because that's the 2nd pick or 3rd pick I guess the Broncos have. So
fourth because they have 2/3.
okay, 1 sec. No.
First,
Oh, I
second.
forgot about the first that
Yeah,
they
yeah,
acquired.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, 4th-round pick should be used on a running back.
Agreed.
If
not
you're
a
doing
third.
if you pick one in the 4th, you can't expect him to be a good starter.
I expect him to like work alongside Mike Boone in a split carry role until Javonte comes back.
What if you just sign Melvin Gordon in the offseason.
Oh, give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be the role. Not obviously Melvin Gordon, but just a veteran that's a little younger, has a little more left in the tank than Latavius Murray. But there has to be an upgrade there. And Ryan, I would prefer it's the 4th round pick, that it's a rookie that you bring in and you find someone that can be good from the get-go, but it's certainly not a guarantee.
This year, Damian Pierce, Zamir White, Pierre Strong, Hassan Haskins, Isaiah Spiller.
Yeah.
You better hope you get the Damian Pierce.
Exactly.
Who was
Zamir White's
drafted in what
getting
round?
carries too.
Fifth?
Those are all 4th.
All 4th.
Those are all 4th.
Isaiah Spiller's also kind of worked in, but
He hasn't
Austin
been
Eckler's
good.
just so
Yeah.
good that he doesn't need to.
It's
True.
crazy how much of the offense he is with the Chargers.
It's crazy that the Chargers are 6-6.
It's crazy that the Raiders
Yeah.
are 5-7.
It's crazy that the Broncos are 3-9.
It is. It's not really
So
crazy that
crazy.
the Chiefs are 9-3. Is
No, but
that what they are?
everyone thought wasn't. I thought maybe the Chiefs aren't a victim of the trap line, and they were. The book knew, and I tried to put aside what I know the book knew because I was like, the Chiefs don't really count for these things, and then they did.
You know what's crazy is you were the only one on this podcast to pick the Raiders to lose yesterday. You picked you were the only one to pick the Chargers to win.
Wow.
Chargers believer, huh?
Big
Big
Charger
time.
believer. Wow.
But honestly,
Maybe it's because Justin Herbert's my quarterback in Madden now that he's
there you go.
elevating in my head.
That may be the worst thing from yesterday, though, is now the Raiders seem like they're really gaining momentum for next year, which sucks.
Or it's a good thing because they won't fire Josh McDaniels.
It
They're
is-
definitely not firing him now.
It's also exactly what we predicted before the season.
It actually is crazy.
It's
Exactly
true.
what we predicted.
That's about the only thing. Well, I'm not going to say
Oh,
that.
sweet. I just got an email from Coach Prime asking me to renew my season tickets.
Oh,
I'm sure you did.
Let's go.
damn.
Handwritten.
Yeah, I bet he signed it
Personally
himself.
said.
Yep.
Well, let me tell you, Coach Prime, I'm renewing, baby. I'm back.
Yeah, that was really in question, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
in the portal for a second there.
Wow.
Just like he told you to be.
Just like the whole team. Yep.
No, he
Wait,
told
was that
the,
message to the fans too?
No,
Oh.
because
Did
he
he say
said
you all get in the portal?
no, because he said I'm not gonna let you guys disappoint these fans like you
True.
have.
It's true.
And your parents.
And your parents.
I would be disappointed too.
I wonder if the kids who hit the portal, will their parents still be CU fans?
After that message,
Why not?
F no. No way.
You're like, thank you, Prime, for stopping my son from disappointing me.
Have fun at Eastern Kentucky. We're sticking out here in Boulder.
Oh man, big time college football is a ugly business.
It is the most disgusting sport. Well,
Yeah,
actually, World
yeah.
Cup in Qatar.
That's true. Yeah,
There's
that's,
for a short time we have something
there's death.
grosser.
Excuse me, death involved in that.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, so where were we? We left out at off at running back. We all said yes, they need to upgrade there. Quarterback, I think I don't want to speak for you guys. I would say yes, they need to upgrade. It's not possible. So, no.
That's what makes this conversation kind of difficult.
Yeah.
I would say to be right now it feels like yes. They
Yeah.
would need
Yep.
to change the quarterback to be an average offense.
Yes.
But what's crazy is like I just wish we could see what it looks like if like Mike White is the Broncos starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, does he actually elevate the offense? Or is this offense such a disaster that it's making Russ look worse than Mike White?
Well, we have one sample size, and it's not fair just to take one game from Brett Rippon, but Brett Rippon, a very true backup, and Russ is like 3 points per game better than him. And so that's kind of scary in a way. But I agree. What would an average quarterback look like in this offense? Would he be able to get them to the average of 22 points a game, 20 points a game? But right now, I have to say, the Broncos, I mean, right now on the season, even after Russell Wilson's best QBR yesterday of 65, he's still like ranked bottom 4 quarterback in the NFL in QBR.
Yeah.
To see what did Mike White do yesterday on the stat line. 31 of 57.
Wow. They
300
trusted him.
369 yards, 2 interceptions, a 59 rating.
My goodness, did they trust him?
Oh my God. And they almost won.
That seems like the opposite of Saleh, what he wanted to do a quarterback.
Yeah. They gave him 57 throws and they still had 24 carries. So they ran a lot of offensive plays.
That is a
did.
ton. Very much the opposite of the Broncos.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Meanwhile, Kirk Cousins was 21 of 35 for 173 yards and 1 touchdown. Essentially similar to the Russell Wilson line.
just less efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they won. So I guess my point here is I think Russell Wilson can be
Definitely.
good enough to lead an average offense.
Like
I
if you
think.
give him a true wide receiver one, like a great receiver, then yeah. If
He's-
not, then so it kind of depends on the combinations to me.
Interesting is like yesterday he made like 3 or 4 throws that were like, oh, I'm glad to see he has that. Like
Yeah.
there's like the one throwing a little bit across his body to Greg Dulcich on the run. That's like, okay, so that's still in the bag. There's a one where he kind of throws sidearm to Jerry Jeudy on 3rd down where it's like, okay, still got that one. And even like later in the game, he throws just like a strike on an out route to Kendall Hinton, which is like an easy completion. But it was just like, okay, that was on a rope. Got there quick. It gave him an opportunity to turn up field. Like I see these little things from him. It sounds like we're talking about a rookie, right?
It does.
But it's just like, okay, it's nice to know he has that in the bag. Maybe in a competent offense, he gets a lot more opportunities to make these throws.
And I still think his strength is the deep ball. There's nobody who could throw a deep ball to at this point. Like you just that is not in the bag. You just
why are
don't
we not
have
back
any
shouldering
speed.
Cortland?
Well, I was gonna say, what are you talking about? Cortland is supposed to be the guy. That
When
the
has he
best
won a
thing-
jump ball?
The
He's not
best
fast.
thing he does is supposed to be. It's not burn pass guys, but it's supposed to be
No.
just throw a 50-50 ball. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that's in his game
No.
anymore. Just because he's done it once this year that I can think of off the top of my
It's
head.
the one where he mossed Montrell Washington.
That's the one that was on my mind.
Yeah,
He did it against Montreal.
And so, I mean, he's supposed to be your guy. Is it because Russ doesn't have it anymore? Is it because Cortland doesn't have it
He's had
anymore?
opportunities though. Not a lot, but enough to be able to say, why isn't he catching more of those? Like they just need a true speed separator who can get down the field.
Well, they thought they had that with KJ.
They did,
And
They've never
had
had
a
it.
40-yard catch in 3 of 5 games before he got hurt again.
And a little update on Cortland. He has a hamstring injury.
Yep.
He didn't play in the second half, but he had 1 target in the first half, 0 catches. And I mean, that was before he was injured, so I'm not getting on an injured player right now. But that's just what when we talk about Cortland, we just talk about he just disappears at times.
Yeah, that's why I've been calling him Houdini. Okay, so let's just, I guess, table the quarterback discussion.
Yeah.
I personally think you could probably get by. You don't have an opportunity to change it anyway,
Right,
for
right.
the most part, despite the conversation we had last week.
Yeah, so the conversation's pretty much ends there with
You
that.
basically every other decision better be towards figuring out how to make him work.
Right.
Exactly.
right.
I mean, like Marcus Mariota, above league average in scoring offense. So like it is possible.
Yeah.
It is possible.
Can he be Marcus Mariota?
He better be able
He better
to
be.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
better
Yeah,
be.
you better hope.
And Marcus
Yeah.
Mariota's arm looks so bad.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Let's go through the line. Left tackle.
So, yeah. I mean, all these spots you'd like to upgrade, except for maybe Quinn. But even that, you could make the case that he's been like an average guard this year.
But that's fine. Average is fine.
But yeah, so I look at more as like left tackle. Of course, if you can upgrade, you upgrade. But really, you need to get 2 of them.
Do you need to upgrade to get to average? I would say no.
I'd say Bowles,
No.
he can be average. The thing is, you are gambling. He could also lead the league in holds next year if he stays healthy. But realistically, so I would say,
But
yes,
he-
you want to, but realistically, Brian, I think he should be able to get you average next year.
I guess my thing is even when he holds and he has those issues, he blocks well enough on 9 out of 10 plays to have an average offense.
And if you're just looking through the 5 spots, that isn't the one you'd go after.
But yeah, but if you're just looking at it individually,
My whole thing is, can you be average with Garrett Bowles as your left tackle?
yes,
I think
you
the
can.
answer is yes.
The answer is
I
yes.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Left guard,
Um,
Dalton Reisner.
Like you can be average with Dalton Reisner there. Is he an average guard? No.
Yeah.
Like
I
you
think
can
it's
be
about
for sure.
time. I think it's about time.
And we didn't
yes.
talk about this on the pod, but last week he made it official that he has not
Yep.
been offered a contract extension from the Broncos. And holy cow, did he put his heart out there. He was talking with KOA, and he said by now, essentially, he said by now it would have happened. So I'm going to enjoy these last 6 games being a Denver Bronco. I've loved my time here. I've loved playing for the home team. But, I mean, he essentially said he's not going to get a contract here. Now, the Broncos could let him test the market, and then if he gets no good offers, he comes back here on a cheaper deal than he would have thought to get, but they're going to let him explore the market.
Yep. And to me, like you need 2 or 3 upgrades on the offensive line. Realistically, this is the number 2 place you upgrade in terms of like how you could get better. This is number 3 to me. But either way, I think that this is a spot where you need to upgrade.
Center.
That's number 2 on my list.
Yeah, it's time.
You
Yep.
gotta upgrade.
Yep. Very
to
much.
upgrade.
It's past time.
Yes.
Right guard, I would say no.
No.
Quinn Miners can absolutely be the right guard on an average offense.
Yep.
For average. Yep.
Yep.
Agreed.
And I think the ceiling is higher than that, especially with
definitely.
better play around him.
I think the ceiling is higher, but I do think my expectations for him this year have come back to earth. But it doesn't mean that the ceiling still isn't there. But especially at the beginning of the year, he was playing really well, and he has dropped off.
Here's my defense of Quinn Miners. The worst link on the offensive line is to his right, and the second worst link on the offensive line is to his left. That
is
just
true.
I have a hard time judging him based off of that, and that brings us to right tackle, which absolutely for the 178th straight season of Broncos football, they need a right tackle.
And that should be your first-round pick next year.
And the first-round pick might be getting a little bit better because despite a dub yesterday, the
Brock
49ers
Purdy.
are now down to their third-string quarterback. I wouldn't be shocked
the rest
if they
of the
go
season.
after. Yes, I wouldn't be shocked if they go after Baker Mayfield
Do
and
you think
just
there's
give
already
it a
been
try.
do you think there's already been a conversation between Baker's camp and the 49ers, and that's why this morning Baker asked to be released?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
And obviously his best season ever was in that offense. He can operate it. I think.
Kyle knows
We've
how to
never
work with
seen him play on a
quarterbacks.
team that's that good, so we'll see what happens. But with that being said, the 49ers are in a really rough position right now. What is their record? Like, where are they at?
They're 8-4. They're number 3 in the NFC. Washington is 7-5-1, and they're the first team out of the playoffs.
Okay.
So Washington would have to pass them, and then like the Seahawks are 7-5. They couldn't fall off worse.
Well,
you know?
the Seahawks would have to pass them no matter what.
no matter what. Yes.
So okay.
So really quick, speaking of Baker, and this could have been part of our conversation with Russ. After it was announced that Baker was going to be out there on the DNVR Broncos Twitter account, the question was posed, should the Broncos have interest in signing Baker Mayfield? You know, it has 284 likes, 158 comments,
Oh
so
my God.
probably means pretty divisive. The top comments are, no, is this a real question? But then the other top comment is, I had it right here. It's essentially along the lines of, what do we have to lose? Why not?
I would 1,000% prefer Baker Mayfield as the backup quarterback on this team than Brett Rippon.
Yep. But why? Like, what's the point? Because you can play him for 4 more weeks. Like, oh, well, look, we have Baker Mayfield instead of Brett Rippon in this game against the Chiefs. That doesn't matter. Like, it's just not worth it at this point.
I would, I guess, just make the case that if Russ were to get banged up a little bit in the next few games, then you just like have a reason to turn to the backup. Like,
Well, Ryan, you said, what would it look like if Mike White came in? How
Yeah,
good could it
exactly.
be? Well, what if we got to see Baker come in because Russ got a little banged up? And what if Baker did come in and put up 20 points per game? That may be the scariest thing for Broncos to see because it's like, oh, shit, this is on Russ.
No,
Yep.
like, I would love to see what happens. They're not just running science experiments down there, though. Like,
No, I mean, Henry, you're right. They're not going to do it.
Yeah, there's just no reason to do it, I don't think.
what if he gets claimed? Even if he did have a conversation with the 49ers, what if he gets claimed?
I imagine he will.
By a team before the 49ers?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be way down the
I
waiver
mean,
wire.
like,
Can't
what's
trade
number
him.
1? Texans? Why wouldn't the Texans try it out? Oh, it worked? Hand him a contract in the offseason.
Right, because they're starting who at this point?
Next year, they'll be starting
don't know.
the first overall pick.
There is that.
They started like, it's not him, but like Brian Hoyer-esque player yesterday.
The Rams.
Oh, yeah.
The Rams traded their first round pick. They're sitting there at 3-9. Stafford's
Potentially
hurt.
them. Yep,
So,
yep.
and I think they must be right after the Broncos in the waiver claims.
Yep.
Maybe even right before.
The Texans started Kyle Allen.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
last-
see, they're in full tank mode. So that's just like, ride it out.
Yep.
That is true.
They
20
are.
of 39 for 201 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions.
Yikes.
Saints, maybe. Colts. They're
gonna
back on Matt Ryan. Like, I think they're happy with him.
Oh, after yesterday?
True. Or maybe they're willing to replace him, too.
Classic new coach bump in game 1
Yeah.
and
Yep.
fall apart after that.
Exactly. Yeah. And as we know that by now the Broncos are not going to have that new coach bump going into the Chiefs this week because we're sitting here almost 1 p.m. on Monday. Nathaniel Hackett's still the coach, which means he's going to be the coach this week.
2 more questions. 1, do the Broncos need to replace their fullback position?
Nah.
It just doesn't matter.
I say yes.
Wow.
2.
Wow.
Do the Broncos need to replace their kicker?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, no, unless you factor in the contract, in which case, absolutely just do it. Why not?
Well, no, we're talking about average, and if he's kind of part of the offense and scoring, he is not an average kicker this year. He is below average this year.
I
And
knew that was never going in off his foot.
Also, what? I mean, there has to be a trust issue now between Nathaniel Hackett and Brand. I get it. It's a 63-yarder. If you miss wide right, wide left, or you miss by 2 yards, okay, that happens with 63 yards. You miss by like 10 or 12 or 15 yards? What are we doing even trying the kick?
Yep.
How can you trust him moving forward saying my distance is 63 yards?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What's crazy is if he had the length that he thinks he does, the Broncos would be 5-7 right now.
It's
Yep.
true, with nothing else different.
Yep. 0 other things changed except 2 field goals.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Yep.
And it's not, the season's not going as planned, but it's not off the tracks.
And I'm not saying you should expect your kicker to make those kicks. You
Well-
should get in a better position before you attempt them.
Without a doubt, but he did tell him, I can make it. It's in my
Apparently.
range.
Was this the whole like left hash thing all over again?
What Russ said after the game was we needed to get to the 45-yard line. You know where the Broncos offense got? The frickin' 45-yard line. So it wasn't 46 left
How
back.
does this
It was
stuff
just
happen?
45-yard
know.
line.
If you were reading this Broncos season in a book,
Yeah.
you would be like, this is so boring. They just keep writing the same chapter
I know,
over and
it's
over.
It's so
again.
true. It's so
They're like,
true.
you're like, chapter 12 is the exact same as chapter 1. What is this?
Except in chapter 12, they had 2 less points, and the other team had 2 fewer points as well.
Yep. That's goddamn.
It is.
Okay. Shall we move on here?
So
all-
what did we decide?
So we got to,
Receiver?
we agreed on one wide receiver?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Kinda.
I still don't.
Running back,
Yep. Not tight end.
left guard, center, right tackle,
5.
Wow.
I think that is the
fullback.
bare,
Yeah.
bare,
Just kidding.
bare
Really?
minimum.
See, I came into this thinking 2 or 3, depending on the offensive line. Because again, like you get Javonte back, like you get Tim Patrick back, and again, it's like, what is Javonte? There's that factor too. I legitimately think if you actually, and that doesn't mean like get average play out of two or three offensive line spots, but like get good players there. Again, they need 25 more yards to be average by yards. Like their third down percentage is terrible. Red zones. By yards though.
Yeah,
the 7 points.
No,
We know the 7
yards
points.
does not even close to
But-
as important in points.
No,
Hank,
but it's a sign,
This is
though.
one of the worst scoring offenses in the past 3
Definitely.
decades.
Definitely.
I
And
think
they've
they're more
had-
than 2 players away.
Well, I mean, they're more than 2 players. You throw Javonte in there, you throw Tim Patrick in there, you throw Garrett Bowles in there, you throw.
But
So I guess there's
we
6
s-
players.
we
There's
saw-
half the
We
offense.
saw those 3 guys with this offense, not Tim Patrick.
Yep.
We saw Javonte. We saw Garrett Bowles. We've
Yep.
seen Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, all those guys healthy.
They were 2 and 1.
We've seen, but how many points were they averaging?
Not a lot.
Exactly.
What were they averaging?
What was it? Like 16, 16, and 23?
Yeah. Pretty close.
That's still
in
below
Tim-
average.
It is. It is still below
Yeah,
average
yeah.
Good enough to be
in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about those are, I guess, what? One bad team, or one really bad team, one bad team, and then an okay team with the Seahawks. So, I mean, it's not like
Niners
they're
were
going
in
up
there,
against. No, that was week 4.
That was week 4.
And
Oh, yeah, because they
scored
lost that
10
one.
points.
They
Or
did.
11 points.
No, they won that one.
Yeah, 11 points.
They started 2 and 1. Did they get that one?
They won
It doesn't
14 to
matter.
9, I think, against the or 16 to 9.
Yeah, it was
16 to 9 against the Texans.
Yep,
There
yep,
we go.
yep. And then
Yeah.
you're right, it was 49ers, then it was
Yeah.
Raiders. Yeah.
There we go.
So
the
first
average
3
is down.
games, they were averaging, even worse.
Yeah.
The same, yeah.
Yeah. The offensive line, though. I think that's the big thing.
Well, you know what's good news, guys?
What's that?
The under moved
Hey!
to 11 and 1 on
Wow.
the season, and I think I've got at least 8 or 9 of those.
Yeah.
It just keeps being so easy.
Oh, my gosh.
Yesterday it closed at 40 and a half.
You're never
They
sweating.
didn't get half that.
No. Oh, my gosh. Pathetic.
So if there's one thing you want to take away from Broncos games, just go over to DraftKings Sportsbook and bet the under.
Yep.
At least you can be paid for your invested time.
It's very true.
It's been brutal, but those have hit. So check it out over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Makes everything more fun. I will say I've had a disastrous experience betting on the World Cup. So maybe just I should stick to American football, in basketball and hockey. But it's a great time over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Makes every game more fun to have a little bit of action on it. So get over there. Use the code DNVR when you sign up to get in on all of their fantastic deals, including you can get 100% boost on your same game parlays. You can get $150 in free bets when you bet 5 on an NFL money line. So get in on all that great action over at DraftKings Sportsbook and use the code DNVR when you sign up. Of course, age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
And speaking of DraftKings, let's give out our DraftKings pick of the week. And we're just going to go right back to the well that you talked about, Ryan, because it prints money. Take the Broncos and Chiefs under. Now, you may say, okay, the Broncos hits all the time, but they're playing the Chiefs. I'm a little skeptical. Don't be skeptical, because you know what Vegas does when the Chiefs play? They boost that number probably higher than it should be, and that's reflected in the Chiefs over-under. The Chiefs are 7-5 on the under. So even the Chiefs hit the under more than not, and the Broncos are 11-1 on the under. So it's going to hit the under.
Pretty shockingly low number in a game that involves Patrick Mahomes.
It's a pretty shockingly high number for a game that involves the Denver Broncos, though.
Yeah, that's true.
So you kind of meet in the middle there. 43. I like that under. I like it. And I was a little worried about the Ravens under. I was like, man, are the Ravens going to blow the Broncos out? And the Broncos are going to get 13 points and the Ravens get 30 and it hits the over. Then, if that happened, the under would still be right around there. So I still like the under for this game. And in the Chiefs' last 5 games, the under's hit 3 times. So it's not like their offense is so hot that it's hitting recently. No, it's not. And we obviously know the Broncos' offense is clearly not there. So give me the under again this week.
I reserve the right to change this.
Okay.
But like my initial reaction is 23-9 or 24-9.
Ooh. Yeah, I like that a lot.
So
Yep.
that's
like 30
well
to
under.
10. 30 to 10 is where I'm at right now.
All right. Either way, that's still under.
Yep.
So there you go. I think we can just stamp that down as the team.
Yeah, I think we all agree there.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, if it keeps winning, why would you go anywhere else?
Yep.
Show history, the official team DraftKings pick of the week for us.
Boom. There we go. And speaking of something that we all love is Sports Fan, because that's where we hold our tailgates. And you know, if we're putting the stamp of approval on it, it means it is really good. And check out Sports Fan when we have a tailgate, which we have one coming up this week. If you go to Sports Fan, we're in their parking lot for the tailgates. If you go there during the tailgate, you're going to get 10% off. So make sure to check them out. But also you can check them out not during the tailgates as well, because they have 4 locations, 2 on 16th Street Mall, 1 where we do the tailgates on 18th and Federal right by the stadium. And then, of course, they have one in Park Meadows Mall. They have the coolest gear. You can get normal things, but then you can also get customized, awesome, different things that are very unique. You can only find there. So check them out for all of your Denver sporting needs. Comments?
All right, let's get to the comments. Start with the super chats from Casey Israel. RK, what's the CU Buffs hand sign? I asked on Twitter. Thankfully, we do not have a hand sign because hand signs are lame.
I am not a fan of the hand signs.
But you can say SCO Buffs. That's our version of Roll Tide.
Yeah, and it's big.
It
out
is.
here. Yeah.
It is. It's slowly but surely growing. I was originally anti it, but I've since adopted it.
There we go. Really, I thought you would be all about it.
I don't like change.
Well,
It's like saying
okay.
Go Buffs. But now it is kind of easier to say SCO Buffs.
does Dion say it?
He hasn't yet.
Okay, he hasn't.
He also hasn't like changed his Twitter profile pic yet, but we'll get
Is
there.
it still Jackson State?
Yeah, maybe he's doing it
Okay.
because he's still coaching one more game for them.
And when does that end?
I believe this weekend.
Oh, okay. So it's not too far until
Yeah.
he's here.
Yeah.
That's gotta be so awkward.
Going
Like
back
he's
there.
leaving all those kids, and
Well, he's bringing a lot of luggage with him.
It's Louis.
I mean, there can't be too much Jackson State luggage. It's gotta be a lot.
He's
Porter
literally
luggage.
said in that clip, he said, I got about 10, 11 guys that are coming with me, and they're dogs, and they're going to eat.
10, 11. It's like 90 on the roster.
So we get, yeah, they're not all coming. Not even
No.
one of his sons is coming.
Yeah, that was another weird
Wait, one of
thing.
his sons isn't coming?
So he can't, as far as I know, unless he like requests a waiver and goes through, which he probably could.
Where is he?
He's at Jackson State. He's a safety at Jackson State. His name's Shiloh Sanders.
Okay.
But he's already transferred twice. And so that complicates things. For him.
FCS to FBS should be fine though. When you're
Well,
changing
Dion
levels.
said he made me mad, so I didn't bring
Oh
him.
yeah, I think that was just on that.
No
It was just
way.
on that trip. Just on that trip.
Yeah, it's possible.
Also, yeah, no, which is insane. Like, imagine if Nathaniel Hackett like took over as the Broncos coach and was like, "Oh, I'm pissed at my daughter. She had to stay back in Green Bay." Like, Dion literally this week put out a ranking of his children. It was like Dion Jr.'s birthday. He was like, that my favorite son, and then went 1 through 5.
Wait, no, actually?
Actually,
Oh my
it's like,
god.
what the hell is this?
Number 5's got to step their shit up.
Was number 1 the starting
Apparently.
quarterback of the CU
No,
Buffalo?
he was
no, he was
three,
number
I think.
3. Yeah.
Wow.
He's not getting to number 1 until he leads us to the Natty.
What are 1 and 2 doing?
1 is like his social
Yep.
media manager.
Okay.
Yep. Dion Jr.
I think he's like tactically trying to uplift him. I don't know why, but he
know.
clearly like feels the need to
Yeah.
rise him up.
Well,
but
I could understand it. Probably his social media manager needs more of a bump than the starting
It
quarterback.
was also his birthday. That's why he released the updated power rankings.
It was Dion Jr.'s birthday?
Yeah.
Okay.
he should just have the power rankings in his office, like with like some magnets.
I think he does, like on the refrigerator. Like he must.
I was
If you-
going to
if you're-
say, could you
it
imagine
seems like
on-
this is
on
a
the,
thing.
on the kitchen table just every time you sit down for dinner?
Like, I don't even know what that kid would have to do to not get brought to the introductory press conference
Apparently,
like this whole
he
trip.
was like anti coming to see you. That's the rumor.
For his dad?
Huh.
Like,
Yeah.
He didn't want his dad? Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He just
because he
wouldn't-
probably thinks he's stuck at Jackson State now.
there's nothing wrong with Jackson, Mississippi.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm anti.
I mean, there might be something.
it sounds
wrong.
like a bad place, knowing nothing about it. Like if I had
Don't
a
say
list,
that.
I
Don't
mean,
say
to,
that.
to be
I'm
fair, though,
anti-Wyoming,
we
too.
can just connect the dots from with what Dion's doing. He was undefeated at Jackson State, and he's going
Yes.
to a 1-11 program. Clearly, I think there's a positive jump there for him to be making that crazy football move.
I mean, he brought up the crime rate multiple times.
yeah, he was
Yeah, it's
amazed
true.
by that
It's
crime
true,
rate.
yeah.
Not of Jackson.
Yeah.
All right.
There's something going on there.
There's another one there. And Zach has Zach, let me get that 1,000th follow.
Oh, why
Wow.
don't you hit me a DM right
You're
now?
following $9.99 right now.
$9.99.
Wow.
$9.99.
Wow.
Yep. It's a little scary to jump over, but it's probably about time.
I've long, I believe, been in the 1,000 following club. Let's see what we
Yeah.
got here. Yeah, I follow 1783.
1780. You nervous to get to 1784?
Nope.
Oh, okay, good.
Probably follow like all of Dion's staff when they come
Wow.
out.
Yeah,
I've got
of course you will.
2,100.
Woo. Leading the way.
Yeah. Maybe I
go.
need to clean that out.
Yeah, I've often thought of that as well.
Yeah.
I
All
feel
right.
like a lot of people just don't tweet, so I never see it, so I don't
That's
care.
very true. That's very true. All right, let's hop into the comment section. First one coming in from Bigwood54 says, such a heartbreaking loss. You cannot blame the defense for this game. Any defense in the league would be exhausted after being on the field that much. After forcing turnovers like they did today and playing great defense for roughly 55 minutes of the game, the offense has to help and capitalize on those opportunities. I personally think we should have gone for it on 4th down instead of kicking that last field goal. Thoughts? Also, I definitely think we should have had Russ throw the ball more. He was looking good for the most part. Quick question. My first ever game was against the Raiders, and I had my all-in bus ticket for the game, and I'm coming back next week for the Chiefs game because I had so much fun even with the loss. The
Wow.
tickets are quite a bit more expensive than the last one with the Raiders. Is that because it was supposed to be a Sunday night football game? Will there be a price adjustment, or is it just because it's the Chiefs? Thank you all for the amazing content. Can't wait to see you guys next Sunday. Broncos Country. I want to die. Hashtag take the under.
It's 75% Mahomes, 25% Sunday Night Football.
It shouldn't be.
That's why those are more expensive, I think.
He's talking about tickets to the game
I
or
was talking
tickets.
about the bus.
Oh.
That's what I thought he was talking about.
Oh. I have no idea about
I don't
that.
think the bus price has changed if you were talking about a game this season.
This year, yeah.
So maybe he's talking about just the game.
If so, yeah, it's probably because of the Chiefs.
It's probably because Chiefs fans
Mostly.
are road tripping into Denver to scoop up all the
Also
tickets.
true.
Yeah.
That fits my Mahomes category.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That would be rough.
yes,
it will
it
be
would
rough.
be. And it,
Yeah.
it will
I
be.
like we did this whole thing yesterday with the Buffs. Like, don't let Nebraska fans come to the game next year. I can't even do that to the Broncos fans right now. Like, I'm not expecting anyone to go to the game to like make sure a Chiefs fan doesn't or
Right.
hold on to their tickets that someone's offering them money for. Like, I can't ask
Yeah.
for that with the way that this team is played.
Yeah. I mean, Rick George said it. No red in the stands.
Yeah.
It's hard to say that about the Chiefs this week because of where the Broncos are.
That
Probably
4th
gonna be a
down,
lot.
is he
it's also
talking?
really hard to get tickets to Arrowhead right now. Like,
Yes.
obviously they're so good that ticket prices are so high up that 7-hour drive from
Yeah.
Kansas City to Denver. also like people that live in Western Kansas that are Kansas City Chiefs fans, like they're probably all flocking in to hit up Game Time and go to the game for $35.
It's cheaper to drive or even fly out here and get those tickets.
Yeah.
Dang, that's crazy.
He must be talking about the 4th and 11, right? The second to last drive.
No, I think he's talking about the end of the second half or end of the second quarter.
Okay.
When the Broncos decided to kick a field goal instead.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Hackett talked about it after the game. He just said our defense was playing great, wanted to get points there. So essentially what he was saying was he didn't think the defense was going to give up really any points in the game. And that's just...
They weren't.
It's such an unrealistic expectation to ask for.
Going up
Broncos
6-3
needed one
is
more
big,
field
though.
goal to win the game. They didn't even need to enter the red zone.
Yeah,
It's true.
That's all they needed. But, man, it's just like we talked about it. It's just the same story. The defense is so good until when it matters the most. And obviously, it's not the defense's fault that they lost the game in a broad spectrum. But, man, don't break down then. And let's just put some context to it, too. It's against a backup quarterback. And now it's a good backup, but still a backup quarterback. You should not be breaking down there. And they had 2 4th down situations that they had to convert. They converted them. You gave them 2 big plays with an unnecessary roughness penalty, I believe, and then also Pat Surtain's pass interference. They just broke down, and it's not the first time. So that's just what made it even more disappointing.
And I'll say I'm happy with the decision to kick that field goal.
You can't trust the offense to do
Exactly. Because I don't think they were going to go score a touchdown. Like, you pick it up.
That's what I said. When they lined up to go for it, I said on the watch along, so they're just going for this to have a shorter field goal in 30 seconds?
Exactly. Like, that red zone, they were not going to go score.
Yeah. I
Take your 3
Probably
points there.
not.
Take those 3 points.
Next one's from Mile High Till I Die. Says, if you told me we could get Caleb Williams to 2024, I would put up with another season of Russ and Hackett and 10 points a game.
Who wouldn't?
If we can't have Caleb Williams, then let's ship this franchise to the moon so we don't have to suffer through this mess anymore. What a way to ruin a perfectly fine Sunday. By the way, you guys used the term heartbreaking in the headline, and then someone just used the term heartbreaking. Was that really heartbreaking?
That I had more emotional investment in that game than I have for the past, 5 or so games, because they were in it and there was just hope in the game. And then at the end,
They just needed one stop.
And so, yes, in an entire season perspective, when you look at it, no, it's not, because it was for them to fall to 3-9. So that's not
Exactly.
really heartbreaking. But just in the moment, I think there were some emotions there.
It just depends on how much you care at this point. It's like,
And I cared more in this game than in past games.
Nobody tell Coach Prime that I was watching the game during his press conference. He probably wouldn't like that.
No.
But I was just watching it like, I know what's going to happen here. Here it comes. Yep. There it is. Yep. Touchdown. 30 seconds. That's not enough time. Loss. Yep. That's what I expected.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's true. But, I mean, there was just a little bit of hope.
There was. The count says, has anyone thought about holding an exorcism at Mile High?
Ooh.
It's the acme of foolishness to not believe that some demon or succubus type deal isn't having its way with our team. You couldn't make this up if you tried. Some seasons end shortly, like a bitter frost that come calling you as you sun yourself on the banks of the Horsetooth Reservoir, dreaming back to times of skipping stones and laughing contentedly over a stinger full of fish. It plucks you right the hell out of all the comfort, and yet you keep a little light burning somewhere in secret, hoping that things will keep growing. But a new wind tells you otherwise. Love the count.
Wow. Well, I'm happy we at least got a Fort Collins reference in here to Horsetooth, since there's been a lot of Buffs talk. But the count also has something that makes a little more sense now. He says, with Jimmy G out, could the Broncos in San Francisco make a deal for Russ? The count. Not this year, because trade deadline is passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could do a... you can't do anything.
you can't do anything. I do think, there's one player who joined the team just after the Broncos won that Super Bowl, and it's been only pain since. And I love Justin Simmons, but
Wow.
is he cursed?
I heard that he's been cursing more.
Have you heard that?
Yes, I have heard that.
What if you trade him to the Chiefs? Just 7th round pick to give them the curse.
That could
what you're
really
saying?
go wrong. We might really hate that.
Did Melvin Gordon play? Has he been elevated from the P squad yet?
I
think he
not
did.
that I've heard. No.
I was going to say, because that could be their curse.
That could be.
Wait, wasn't... No, Melvin's was later. All right.
I think they are
He was
0-1 since getting Melvin. Didn't he sign just last Monday or
Yeah.
Tuesday? Yeah, 0-1.
Let's go.
Keep an eye on that.
From Chihuahua. Although unlikely, is there a world in which Russ would restructure his contract to get a fat payout in form of a signing bonus or something, allowing both sides to move on and look towards the future? I know nobody gives up money, especially quarterbacks, but he has to look in the mirror. He's basically the highest paid player in the league while performing below every starter in the NFL. Maybe he wants a fresh start with a better team, and maybe, just maybe, Walmart has enough cash to entice him to restructure and ride himself out of town.
Wouldn't the cap hit eventually still hit, though?
Yes.
Yeah, there's no way. The only way they could make the cap hit less is if he just gave up guaranteed money.
Right.
And there is no reason for him to ever do that at all.
So
There's
I
no way to
understand
get
what
down.
you're saying, Chuhuha, but
no matter
money
what-
in the world can buy the Broncos out of the cap hit, and that's what matters.
No matter what, signing bonus gets spread out across the length of the contract in terms of dead cap. So you couldn't even you wish you could just say, like, give him $250 million, just pay him out the whole contract just to make the contract go away. It just doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. Even though
does
the
not.
Walmarts have the money. PS2 says, hey, guys, I have missed the last few pods because, quite frankly, anything Broncos-related brings my mood down right now.
that's
I'm
a
going to
shame.
the Chiefs game this week, and I'm not excited about it at all. Sadly, I bought the tickets in August and overspent way too much on tickets. Should have waited and used game time instead. The worst thing about the games is the way we lose. We don't play to win. We play not to lose. Yesterday's game highlighted that so many times. Outside of Russ, the team ran the ball 26 times, averaging 2.6 yards per carry, and Russ only had 22 pass attempts. I'm just hoping for a miracle, and we put up points on Sunday.
So true.
Putting up points on Sunday would feel like a miracle.
They played that game so scared.
And that's kind of what that fourth down was more so playing not to lose as opposed to playing not to win. It's like, just get points because we just don't want to lose here.
I just feel like
felt that
no
was
way.
more of risk reward. Like,
Exactly.
the reward might just be a shorter field goal.
Exactly.
Whereas the risk is we get no points.
Because how often do they score a touchdown in the red zone?
They make the red
not
zone
often.
sometimes.
I know it's been a while. That's why I don't have the number. 34%? 30%? It's right around 30%. So you pick up the first down, and then if you get the 1 yard, you're at the 22 with 40 seconds left. I guess clock is running, and so you're like 36 or whatever. That just doesn't seem like you're getting the touchdown.
I would just so much rather see Russ play like YOLO ball
He does that.
than
Oh, I wonder
watch
if
the
Mina's
Broncos run the ball 26 times at 2.6 yards per carry. They have literally nothing to lose other than, like, I don't want to see him getting hit a ton.
Right.
But it didn't feel like the pass rush was affecting them that much yesterday.
Were there any deep shots, like true deep shots, just period, yesterday that Russ threw?
Not that I can remember.
Thought there was maybe one to Montreal.
Oh, there was Montreal. He kind of came on like a deep post or an over.
Right. Okay, so there was one, but I'm even okay if there's some contested ones that you're throwing.
yeah.
Especially to Cortland Sutton.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
The only way this team scores points is if they have a big play on the drive.
exactly. And that's why you do it. Not because you think he's actually going to make the play, because he hasn't done it.
A big play that's a scoring drive. So there's something on the TV behind us that,
It's a woman being attacked by a raccoon.
and she couldn't
They're
get the
usually so
raccoon
sweet.
off of her. She was trying to throw it, and it was just holding on. Raccoons are not sweet.
Oh, yes, they are.
You got to.
No.
They're like,
Or
I thought they're
maybe
viewed as like one.
domesticated raccoons.
Yeah, those are, I mean, those are the only ones
Is that
I've
a
met.
thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Domesticated
My friend
raccoons?
Justice had one when I
Domesticated
was little.
skunks too.
My grandpa,
Wow.
my
My
grandpa
mom
had a
had
skunk
one.
friend.
A skunk friend.
Used to let him in the house and stuff.
Wow.
Grandma hated it. She hated it
Understandable.
so much. But my grandpa just said, like, as long as you're nice to it, it's not going to spray anything.
Oh, they see. Normally, domesticated ones get like de-skunked.
Yeah, we don't have that. Grandpa didn't know how to do that.
It's probably sad.
That seems
honestly,
like one of
how
the things
that
that would piss it
process-
off and make it spray.
Well, it's not you who does it.
Right. Yeah.
Someone
Yeah,
who's
the
prepared for the
skunky
situation.
sprayer.
You
Yeah,
don't
I got one of
neuter-
those.
You don't neuter your own cats. You like bring them in.
But a lot of cats get neutered.
yeah.
I don't think anybody makes a living spraying skunks.
Probably the same person who neuters the cats.
It's probably true.
And that seems so different. Like, that's a whole different
Called
anatomy.
being a vet.
Yep.
They teach vets how to unspray skunks?
Yes.
There's no way.
There's probably a YouTube video.
Oh my
Oh, boy.
gosh.
Just showing it to my grandpa.
All right, next one comes in for PS2. Hey guys, I've missed the last few pods because, quite frankly, oh wait, we did that one, right?
Yep.
Broncology. I missed one Broncos game in the last 11 years. One. I had to work.
Wow.
I had some things to do during the game. I planned to watch it later in the day on NFL Plus. Well, I logged into social media, forgetting there would be spoilers there. Saw the game, score, another humiliating and embarrassing loss to stack up with all the others over the last 7 years. And guess what? There's no heartache for me tonight, no frustration, no nothing.
nice.
I didn't watch, and we lost again as usual. I didn't have to witness, yet again, the humiliation that is Denver Broncos football. Just an utter embarrassment what this team is, the laughingstock of pro sports. This team is killing my love for football. I used to watch all the games around the league, and as we have continued this, whatever this is, for 7 years, my enthusiasm for other teams has dwindled. Why? Because you watch them and say, oh, that's what football is supposed to look like, and the shame is even worse. So I've been watching the Broncos, and today I didn't even do that. Still here for the pod as usual. You guys are the only light left in my football world. Speaking of which, I'm sure others came long before me. I'm curmudgeonly stuck in my ways. When Mace left, I was upset and couldn't accept Henry as his replacement.
Hey,
Who is this young guy, and what is he doing on my pod? Bring back Mace immediately. That said, he's grown on me now, and I've decided I like him, and he can stay.
There we go.
I was hoping there was a twist.
He has fresh insight and is enjoyable to listen to.
Well,
so
thanks.
good on him, and good on the rest of you finding a suitable replacement for the legend. Thanks for the coverage, as always, Broncology.
Well, thank you, Broncology. And
I just have to say, I'm with you, man. Like, I love football. I spend all of my days looking forward to football when football is not on. And even I have taken a hit in terms of, like, last night, I saw the Sunday Night Football matchup, and I was like, that doesn't seem all that interesting, so I did something else. That's very unlike me.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I'm because the Broncos are so bad, I'm like, I need to see good football. And typically, other games, maybe not last night, but other games are more interesting than the Broncos. So I gravitate to football even more outside of the Broncos.
Yeah, when there's a good matchup on, I'm still like, kicking to watch it. But like, didn't watch Thursday. I guess I sort of watched Thursday Night Football last week, but instead I was really watching the Buffs basketball game, which was also heartache. It's just like one of those things where it's like, there has to be something to draw me in. Whereas in a normal world, I'll just watch any football game at any moment, no matter what.
Right. I understand that. Broncos have kind of flipped me the other way. Dan Burke says, hey, guys, just want to get some clarification or to clarify on something Zach wrote and how to fix the Broncos roundtable piece y'all did. I'm paraphrasing here, but I'm sure Zach said the Broncos should take away some of the defensive players to acquire capital to fix the offense, which is something I agree with. But who is even an option? I can only think of Simmons and Surtain as viable trade chips. Is Zach willing to go that far this offseason to trade both of those guys?
I would say, obviously, Surtain is number one in terms of the value, but
Yeah.
Simmons is actually not that tradable of a
You don't
player.
think so?
Just because his contract. He hasn't lived up to it. Now, 2 picks yesterday definitely helps the way things look, but I would say the more tradable pieces you have are like Baron Browning.
Right.
You could trade
Damari Mathis.
Yeah, maybe. I guess you would put Simmons up there as well, just because he's good.
Yeah.
But you can't trade Draymond Jones because he's on a contract
Right.
year right now. Browning would be the number one that I look at and say, like, that's a very tradable piece.
I think in terms of the most valuable, it's Browning, Simmons, and Surtain.
Yeah, fair enough.
And yeah, I'd be willing to move on from all three of those. I'm not dumping them off, but if you get what you think is fair value, and for Surtain, it may be 2 first-round picks, but you have to do everything you can to get offensive guys. I mean, we see it this year, but we've also, that this isn't just a quick judgment and you're making too rash of a decision. We've seen this since Peyton Manning left.
Yep.
You can't build a team consistently on defense. You have to have those pieces on offense, whether it's 2 or 3 guys like Henry said, or like I think more like 6 guys that you need on offense. You're going to have to get assets in order to get those guys, and those are your most valuable pieces that you can move on from
Yep.
defense.
I think you could get second for Simmons. And I think it's more likely you could get more than less. $14.4 million a year for 2 years, no guarantees.
Fair enough.
That's
the
a good
only,
number.
The only thing is just the tackling.
True.
It's been so bad this year that
Yeah.
it's hard for me to see a team spending that much money for a safety who's struggling
True.
to tackle. From Moogie94, hey y'all, thanks so much for sticking around when there isn't much worth sticking around for. My main takeaway from this offense is that we have given these mediocre players such a pass for the past 3 years due to not having a good quarterback, that we made ourselves believe that we had blue chip talent across the board. Sutton is closer to Sammy Watkins than Randy Moss, and Judy is closer to Van Jefferson than Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. I say cut, trade, whatever with anyone this offseason except Javonte, Russ, Tim, and Dulcich. I was afraid that we drafted Judy in the first round, that he would be a diva, and he has proven a lot of people correct. I bet Brandon Johnson or some low-round receiver will end up having better career than that entitled dude. Probably not. Maybe the players we cut will end up having decent careers at a different place, but truly IDGAF at this moment. Anyways, again, thank you for your great coverage.
You're welcome.
I mean, you're focusing on Jerry Jeudy, but you can even just compare Brandon Johnson from someone in his own draft class, Montrell Washington. Now, viewed more when they drafted it as a returner, but the fact that Brandon Johnson's getting more playing time than Montrell Washington is pretty damning on the draft.
What's he doing with that playing time?
Brandon Johnson, he had a
Nothing.
touchdown last week.
He did have a touchdown.
He did.
He's doing
More than
nothing.
Montrell.
He did. But I'm just
Yes.
saying, like, he's out there for sure.
Yeah.
He is out there.
Jerry Jeudy, like, is actually catching passes. Not
No,
very many.
no, I'm
but
not trying to take
I know,
Jerry
I know.
Jeudy.
But
This was more against Montrell.
He was saying Brandon
Right,
Johnson will end up
right.
having a better career than Jerry Jeudy. Like,
Yeah,
he's
probably
not.
No.
Well,
Woodwork Broncos says, my wife, a Chiefs fan, and I, Broncos fan, are coming to Denver from KC for the game next weekend to celebrate our 1-year wedding anniversary. Congrats, guys.
Hey.
Wow.
We bought tailgate and bus tickets and are very excited for the game and all the festivities. Would you please describe the ideal DNVR game day? If you're an out-of-town fan and you wanted to experience everything the DNVR Bar at Tailgate have to offer, what would your game day and timeline look like? Thanks. P.S. My wife loves the virtual tailgate show, even though she's an evil Chiefs fan.
let's go.
I feel like the ideal DNVR game day is kind of just like all packaged in if you're taking the bus and the
Yep.
tailgate. It's come to the DNVR Bar before.
Yep.
Maybe have a drink while you
Some
wait.
breakfast.
Watch the tailgate.
Some brunch.
Yep, you can watch the tailgate live if you want. You can
Over
sit
in our
over at a
corner.
table by us. Then you hop on the bus. You go hang out at the tailgate for a few hours. Watch whatever games are on in there. Play some games. Have some drinks. Do a shot on the shot ski. Go to the game. In the ideal world, the Broncos win.
Enjoy it.
That'd be nice.
You try to enjoy the stadium. See Bucky up there.
Bucky.
Enjoy Thunder running. The parachuters coming into the
Oh.
stadium.
Yeah.
Let's knock on wood when we say enjoy thunder running.
That's true. What doesn't she run at the beginning of the game?
She does, doesn't? Well,
It's a
Have
good
lead the
move
team
by the
out?
Buffs with
Have-
Ralphie. They're just like, let's
yeah, this is not about
guarantee
the
we're running
touchdowns.
Ralphie.
Have
Not
they
about the
got rid of the
touchdowns.
Let's Ride flags? I need to focus on that
Ooh.
this game.
No, I don't think so.
The guys the parachuters were canceled last game because of wind, so hopefully that's not the case.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like they got canceled.
Oh no! You should have seen the words they had on
Those
their
are parachuters.
parachutes.
Can't
They
take them
had some
anywhere.
crazy problematic flags attached to them as they were flying in.
Yeah, it was orange and blue flags. Very problematic.
Super
this year.
problematic. And then after the game, you hop back on the bus and come back to the DNVR bar and get some food and watch Sunday Night Football.
And this
Yep.
week Sunday Night Football is the Dolphins and Chargers, so you can be cheering for the Dolphins.
Fun. Big Tony says, only read if RK is on the pod. I'm here, baby. My boys, I had an epiphany last night. If we see more of the same from Russ next year, should we be targeting Shador Sanders in 2024?
Oh, boy.
Your thoughts? Yes, absolutely.
Is he gonna be an NFL draft prospect?
Wouldn't it be? So he's plays next year at CU.
Yep,
That
he'd
would
be
be-
eligible.
Okay, well, no, he's staying both years.
He is.
So it'd have to be 2025.
Is he actually a potential NFL draft guy?
It's hard to tell just because his
Yeah.
quality of competition is so low, but he had 41 total touchdowns to 6 interceptions. this year.
What recruit was he? What star?
77% completions too. 4-star recruit.
Okay. yeah.
Turned down Alabama, Michigan, Ohio
Mm-hmm.
State, Tennessee to go to Jackson State.
Wow.
Yep.
He must have a dad or something that's
Yeah.
okay.
Maybe.
Some weight.
One
Maybe.
concern is just arm strength. That's where he needs to show up just a little bit more.
And this one's not going to happen for my guy Big Tony, but he says also if Benito isn't wearing number 11 by Sunday, I'm going to lose my mind. That is all Big Tony out.
But Josh
Of course,
Johnson's no longer on the team.
He's gone, but
Oh, shit, that's
people
true.
are already buying Benito jerseys. I think they're on the
Are they?
shelves. I've seen a few.
Really?
Yeah, I have. I
you
actually
seen
have.
You
More
met the
jer-
Benitos?
Huh?
You met the Benitos?
No, I saw people with Benito jerseys at training camp.
Wow.
Like at least 5, I would say.
You know how many snaps he played on defense yesterday? It's,
0.
It's more. No, it's more.
Okay.
He actually did play on defense. So I'll rephrase it. He played on defense. Guess how many snaps?
20.
One.
Oh,
One. Yeah. So he barely played on defense.
You made it sound like I was so far off when I said 0.
I wanted you to be so far off.
but I was right
You
next
did
to
get
it.
him, yeah.
I almost nailed it.
You almost did.
I was gonna say when I just rewatched the game an hour ago,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't remember seeing him
Yeah.
once. So then when you're like, no, he played. I'm like, man, maybe he was just invisible.
And last one, I believe, coming in from Denver Rival says, who will be the best quarterback to draft in 2024? Speaking of kind of the exact same thing. Where has the Judy slant game gone? I swear those routes are ridiculous and have impacted the offense. We should go super aggressive and like y'all said, and stop this poetry and motion. I really hate this season seeing the Chiefs thrive. The Chargers and now Raiders in the playoff hunt mix and seeing the Seahawks doing well without Russ. Is the team cursed, and did the curse get worse in 2019 when our injury woes really flared up?
It's Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is
Caleb
insane.
Williams, and who's the other top guy too?
Drake May's good.
Yeah.
Caleb
Yeah,
Williams
yeah.
is just special, though. Like, Caleb Williams is...
You guys are right, though. The questions about some
He's
off the
insane.
field, or just not off the field, but character concerns. I think
Yeah,
are
it's
gonna
Not
be-
even like character concerns. It's just he's weird.
it's attitude, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not
Atti-
character
yeah.
concerns or off field, but attitude.
Yeah. The attitude. I mean, he just has this like thing about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is that he's like a cross between Patrick Mahomes and God.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Have you watched him play?
Wow.
Yes.
I saw him lose this past week.
With Dion. You mix old Dion in there, too. I think that's a lot of some of the attitude.
Wait, he's
You just
Deion
said he's
Sanders,
mixed
God,
between Patrick
and
Mahomes and God. That means you
It's
think
three
he's
parents.
better than Patrick Mahomes.
It's you don't?
Not even close.
Oh my goodness, Caleb Williams. Have you watched him play? He's going to be incredible.
You're insane.
You're insane.
My
This is the best
goodness.
quarterback prospect we've had in I don't even know how long.
Since when?
Trevor Lawrence.
I like him better.
Do you like him more than Andrew Luck?
Wow. I didn't even watch college football back
Andrew
then.
Luck
but yes.
wasn't as good as Patrick Mahomes.
But I mean, as a prospect.
Do you like
I mean,
him
as a
more
prospect,
than Peyton Manning?
Give me
as a
Caleb
prospect?
Williams. Was I born?
Do you like him more than John
RK, was I
Elway?
born?
When what?
Yeah, you were
When
born.
he was a prospect, Peyton Manning was a prospect?
Yes.
Yeah, barely.
Well, I don't remember it. It's Caleb Williams is just a freak. Just go.
He is a freak, but
we're almost
a lot
done
of freaks
here.
have failed in the NFL.
We're done here in like 10 minutes. Go just YouTube Caleb Williams and watch him zigzag.
I watch the Pac-12 every weekend. He's
Yeah.
very, very good.
the greatest.
Stop.
the
just-
greatest
okay,
of
how-
You're
all
gonna make
time.
yourself look so dumb.
No. Clip this. Save this. Auto tweet this in 2 years. See
We
what happens.
will. We will.
This will be great when the Raiders draft Caleb Williams in a couple of years.
Hey, I'll be right. Especially if he has Devontae Adams. It's gonna suck, but I'll be right.
No.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. You'll be right that he's a mix of Patrick Mahomes, God, and Deion Sanders.
Wow. Yeah, I will.
Okay.
So he'll be a punt returner too.
I guess
be.
so.
Wow.
Did you see his feet?
The first starting quarterback, all pro quarterback that returns punts.
It'd be a waste if you didn't.
Wow.
You're gonna make me hate him.
No.
Yep.
No. That's fine. More stock for me.
Okay. That's the last comment we had.
Yep, that's
Ah.
it.
At least we ended with a bang.
Yeah,
Oh, we
we
do
did.
have 2 super chats to hit, so let's hit those really quick. I guess we didn't end with a bang. We need to find a quarterback gem and draft a new Brady, please.
Why draft Brady if you can draft Caleb Williams? You know, if you can draft.
Well, he's not exactly a
the
hidden
GOAT.
gem in the 6th round.
There is that.
If he's the greatest to ever play at the number 1 overall pick, he may be a hidden gem.
No,
If he's that good.
He is that good.
he's not going to be anywhere near the greatest to ever play.
Clip that. Save that.
Clip
one.
it.
Don't forget
Save it,
that.
yes.
Don't forget
It's
that.
literally the safest take I've ever had.
No, it is not.
It is. Yeah.
Prob missed it, but what's your score prediction versus KC? We have like so many pods to do before.
Yeah,
we have to
yeah.
do that. But I
You're
already
not
did give
gonna
a
like
score
it.
prediction.
You're not
keep-
gonna like
keep rolling with us. Ryan and I have already dropped our initial ones, and let's just say what we're thinking about a 20-ish point game.
That'd be nice.
I said 24-9.
24 to 9. Oh, 15 points. You still got him covering the spread. I believe right now the spread's around 9.
Yeah, it's at 9.
Before yesterday, the early spread was 7.5 for the Chiefs. So it's already gone up 1.5.
It's only going to keep rising.
It is. I bet it finishes over 10.
The Chiefs who can't beat the Bengals
It's true.
ever.
It's wild. Joe Burrow. Joey B's got
3-0.
Patrick Mahomes. So maybe he is actually better. Maybe you should be comparing Caleb Williams to Joe Burrow.
I mean,
If
Joe
Caleb
Burrow's
Williams
not that
ends
good.
up being as good as Joe Burrow, it's a dub for the team that drafts him.
It
So
would be.
wait.
Yep.
No, damn it. I was alive for Peyton.
Yep.
His last year of college, I was a baby.
Yep.
Yep.
So you should know.
I should know.
You're responsible
That's on
for
me. That's
knowing
on
all
me.
the
Also a
draft
baby for
prospects.
Caleb Williams' last year of college.
Okay, we're not doing that.
All right, let's wrap the show
Yes.
there. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. We will talk to you later.